What is going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, y'all know what I need y'all to do. Be sure to smash that like button, share with your people. Definitely watch the video to the end. Let's get right into it. Being a teenager is hard, especially if you are coming from certain environments. With peer pressure from people around you or school, it sometimes leads to young adults rebelling, trying to find their identity and way in life. More than likely, people become products of their environments and do exactly what they see others doing around them. Even if they come from a good home, once the streets grab you, it only offers one or two things: prison or the grave. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will be taking it to Indianapolis, Indiana, to discuss two young people, a female and male, that allegedly went on a crime spree that terrorized the community. At the time, 16-year-old Zion Smith and 18-year-old Jaquisha Love decided to go make some moves to get a few dollars on the east side of their city. The two would go out on the late night hours on July 19th, 2016. Things would get crazy when police were called around midnight to the 3300 block of Robson Street, where they allegedly found two victims in a Kia Rio suffering from shots. The male victim and driver, then 18 years old, was gone on the scene, and the passenger, a young lady, was critical but would fortunately survive. Crime scene investigators on the scene found shell casings to a 22 and 40 cal. While still on the scene, investigators got a hit. Police was approached by a young woman who said she was robbed earlier and she knew who did it: Zion and Jaquisha. The young lady proceeded to tell police Zion demanded she give him her blicky, and when she refused, he let off shots at her with a bullet pass through her jacket and shirt. But fortunately, she didn't get hit. But it wouldn't stop there. 3 hours later, police were called to another situation on the 1400 block of North Wallace Avenue to a report of a person hit. Once officers arrived, they found the man with a wound to the stomach laying in the living room on the floor, and two other victims as well. They all was transported to the local hospital and told police they received a knock on the door from Zion and Miss Love. Once they opened the door, the young man just started blicking off, but one of the victims was able to fire back, and Zion allegedly dropped his blick at the scene. Police found 4 blickies, one that was reported stolen 2 days earlier. Within 45 minutes, surprisingly, police received another call. This time, someone reporting a person hit in the 4000 block of East 12th Street. As police arrived, they discovered a young man hit in the eye, who was also with a young lady at the time. The man stated his name was Zion Carey, but based on witnesses and their accounts, authorities knew it was Zion Smith and Miss Love. The two were arrested and charged with the hit, the attempts, and robberies. With fingerprints on the scene and ballistics matching up, the crime spree was over. Prosecutors painted a picture of the two as going on a senseless spree for 3.5 hours just to make a few dollars. Both Zion and Miss Love was found guilty of the charges. She was sentenced to 130 years in prison, and Zion was sentenced to 145 years. The game was all over. Moral of this story: fast money will always get you fast time. The two were young, so young they even called the police after Zion was hit, basically telling on themselves. I'm not sure why they went so hard that night, but it took both of them out the free world forever, and even not being old enough to enjoy life. We all make mistakes, but some decisions you can't come back from. So remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, that's a crazy story, you feel me? First and foremost, rest in peace to the young man that lost his life. You know what I mean? He was only 18 years old. Now, I don't know what was up with these two. Like, they ain't say why they did it. I'm thinking they was trying to just get some money, you feel me? Get some fast cash, but the way they was going about it, it really don't make sense, because allegedly after they did the hit earlier that day, they robbed the young lady for her blick, or tried to get her blick, and when she wouldn't give it to them, they fired off shots. So I don't know if they was trying to take whatever they needed, like maybe they were just trying to take blickies and sell them, because at the other home that they allegedly knocked on the door at, you feel me, after they shot and hit all them people, which Zion was shot as well, police allegedly found 4 blickies at that house too. So maybe they was just trying to go to places they knew that had weapons so they could take them and sell them. That's what it seemed like to me, but it was senseless. And then when Shorty got hit, when Zion got hit, you feel me, they panicked because he was hit in the eye, you feel me, that's close to your head, you feel me, he probably didn't think he was gonna make it, but it looked like he was grazed. It don't look like he really was, you know what I mean, like hurt super bad, but he probably didn't know, he probably was scared. But it's crazy because they were so young, and the young lady that was with him, you feel me, like, I don't know if she was a little older, they say, so I don't know if it was her idea or his idea, but either way, they ain't get charged as juveniles, because once you do something that serious, what they do, they gonna hold you in pre-trial, they gonna keep pushing it back. I went through the same thing myself. If you get locked up at 17, trust, they ain't gonna try to sentence you till you 18. They ain't gonna make no chance of letting you go back down to a juvenile, especially when it's serious. So they gonna hold you, especially for a body, for 2-3 years. By that time they grown, they can give them the kind of time they want to give them. So basically they threw their life away for really nothing, you know what I mean? It's a sad story. It's happening all over the world, all over the country. Young kids just out here doing stuff, just wilding, you feel me, thinking that's the way. But then when they get caught up and get in that system, 10-15 years go by, then they realize, like, man, I ain't never coming home. Then it dawned on them, then it's too late, you feel me? Some states take it easy on younger people, and you might go do a little bit of time. Then if they feel like you rehabilitated, they'll send you home. But some states, they don't care, you feel me? They feel like if you had enough sense to do that and take somebody's life, then you going to prison forever, you feel me? And the young man that was in the car with the lady who got hit, it's like, man, I don't know if they was just trying to take the car from them or what they was trying to do, but Shorty basically lost his life to some BS, you know what I mean, to something that ain't even have to go down. But yeah, man, it's a messed up story, you feel me, on a lot of different angles, you know what I mean, but that's how it be, man. Y'all already know, it's the world we live in. Stuff crazy just happened back in 2016. I think they got sentenced in like 2018 or something like that. But man, messed up situation, sad situation for everybody involved. But y'all already know, man, it's another episode of Hood Tales. Be sure to like, definitely like, man. I appreciate you if you watched it to the end. I love y'all, fam. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out. What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. If you're new to the fam, be sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future uploads. Let's get right into the story. Revenge. Some people feel as though if something happens to them or they people, they have to get some get back. It's really a common thing, an eye for an eye. I used to subscribe to this behavior as well, but I soon realized it just seems to keep going. It's a never-ending cycle, and when groups or people are thirsty for retaliation, it often leads to premature actions, leaving the wrong people hurt. For example, a person might see they so-called op in the car with his kids and be so ready to catch him, the person who has the drop will shoot up the car, not even thinking twice. Like, yo, no, I'm not gonna do that because there's kids in the whip. And when there's gangs involved, the politics sometimes goes so deep, the target might have a green light on them, meaning no matter where or when, if the opposite side spots them, it's on sight. Not thinking it could be innocent people around that doesn't know anyone involved. And since bullets have no name, they could easily be hit. All because somebody want to get back. If you go all the way back, even to the earlier days of gang wars or beefs, and follow the trail of what started the beef, it's usually because one side did something to the other side. Now they have been going back and forth for generations. Families suffer, fathers die, Then as sons grow up wanting to get back as well and become hitters themselves, then they get hit. And the cycle just keeps repeating itself. It's common sense. It's a well-planned genocide. And on this episode of Hood Tales, I will be taking it to Columbus, Ohio, to discuss a case involving an alleged gang war that cost a 7-year-old boy his life just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. According to sources, on March 4th, 2016, Miss Judith Huntley headed to the Express Market convenience store on East 5th Avenue in Columbus. In the car with her at the time was a 19-year-old man we will call Ray, and another man we will call Kay. Also at the time, her 7-year-old son, Deontay Fisher, and her 2 other younger kids. The mother was there to pay her cell phone bill. Judith and Kay would exit the vehicle and enter the store, leaving Ray and her kids in the vehicle. Not long after, out of nowhere, gunfire erupted and was aimed at Judith's car. The mother was still in the store when multiple shots went through the car, hitting Ray. A bullet also grazed her 5-year-old son, and glass fragments went everywhere. As the shots stopped, Judith and Kay ran out to see what happened. When the mother noticed her 7-year-old Deontay not moving and bleeding from his head. As witnesses called police, the mother rode with her kids to Nationwide Children's Hospital, where they were treated. But unfortunately, 7-year-old Deontay would not survive. It was determined the young man was shot in the head. Judith was devastated, and she didn't know what was the cause of all this. But allegedly, Ray, who was being treated at another local hospital, told police he knew the shooter. It was at the time 18-year-old Martarius Grace. Ray said he recognized the man by his tattoos, and as police started investigating, it was quickly determined that the shooting was gang-related. Allegedly, Martarius was affiliated with a local Crip fraction called ACG, or Atchison Crip Gangsters, and also went by the nickname Pan or Man Down. It was also alleged that Ray and Kay were members of a rival gang called the Milo Grogan Boys, and the streets were claiming that Kay was responsible for killing the younger sister of an ACG member named Capone, and that's how the beef kept getting worse. Talking to local business owners, authorities realized an auto body shop located right across the street from the Express Market had cameras, and also the owner was in the shop the afternoon of the shooting. The owner stated he walked to the window after hearing gunshots and saw an individual in a red hoodie run around the corner to a white Nissan truck. City cameras also caught the same truck circling the Express Market the same day and time Judith pulled up. Police located the truck, who belonged to an alleged ACG member's sister called T-Body. The truck was impounded and searched for evidence. With all the information, a warrant was soon put out for Martarius, and he was arrested the same day of the shooting and given a $2 million bail, charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of participating in a criminal gang, and 1 count of felonious assault. As he was awaiting trial, allegedly Man Down called home from the jail phone, where he referred to himself by that name, also telling the young lady he was talking to tell T-Body to get rid of the truck, before stating he didn't do the shooting. But if he did get time for it, he would state exactly why, because of the killing of Capone's sister. And then he stated that's the reason he did not care if other kids got hit. During arraignment, Miss Judith and family stated that it was a coward act and they wished police would have shot Martarius instead of arresting him, as the young mother was traumatized for losing her son to street beef. Once the case went to trial, the state presented key witnesses, including Ray, who was shot in the car that day. The young man stated he knew it was Man Down because of his tattoos. The auto shop owner also testified, but the most unexpected witness was an alleged ACG member we will call Jay. He told the court the day of the shooting he was chilling outside by Man Down's house. Jay stated he saw the white truck parked. Then he saw 4 members, including man down, get into the vehicle. Then later that day, Jay went to a ACG hangout where members were at, all politicking. When he alleged he saw man down who was wearing different clothes. Then man down allegedly told him he saw Ray and Kay and tore the car up they were in, referring to shooting up the whip. With the testimonies and recorded jail calls, the court found Martarius guilty of all charges, and he was sentenced to life plus 65 years in prison. He quickly appealed the case, stating Jay was trying to get a deal on his own federal charges, and that his tattoos, including a K, was common in the Columbus streets, but his sentence would be upheld. Rest in peace to Deontay. I send my prayers and deepest condolences to his family. Definitely his mother, Judith. I can't imagine her pain and trauma, rushing her 7-year-old and other children to the local hospital because of gunshot wounds. Moral of this story, gang beef and street wars don't only affect the people involved, but the whole community, taking out babies, elders, and innocent people, because everybody is trying to catch they so-called ops, when the real ops, the police, judges, people that come into the community and bleed it, sit back and laugh at the genocide we cause on each other. When we realize we are stronger together, maybe things will change. Until then, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, it's a messed up story. Rest in peace, Deontay. You know, at the time of this case, even though it was a few years back, it was a lot of stuff going on in Columbus. As I was doing my research, a lot of kids had got hit. A 5-year-old had got hit. You feel me? Another kid had got hit, and it was all alleged gang retaliation. You know, I'm gonna do another story on another episode of Hood Tales about a man that was riding with his nephew, taking him to play basketball, when allegedly the man synced his ops and started shooting, and the bullet hit his nephew. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, the gang stuff, like I said, you feel me? It's an eye for an eye. But at the end of the day, it's genocides. You know, we got switches on these guns now. Don't nobody never question where it come from. You got guns that shoot 60, 70 rounds in seconds. You know, they want us to just wipe each other out, man. But, you know, we got to wake up and be smarter. You know, you got to beat the system. At the end of the day, they don't care. Like I say, the judge winning, the jails winning, you know, the graveyard, the funeral home winning. You know, we losing. It might seem like you winning whatever group you with, how many bodies y'all got, but y'all really losing, man. But y'all already know, man, I appreciate you if you made it to the end of this video, fam. This your boy Tony 2 times. This another episode of Hood Tales. Leave your comments below. It's all love, fam. I'm out.
What's up, YouTube fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, I'll be telling the story of Corlasia Mukes, who was slain by her best friend after they got into a heated argument. Before we get into this video, welcome if you're new here to our channel. Please feel free to subscribe. Click that notification bell to get notified every time we upload. If you're rocking with the content, smash that like button. Share this video with everyone you know. Make sure you watch until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's jump right into it. According to dictionary.com, a best friend is a term of endearment for one's closest and most cherished friend. According to urbandictionary.com, a best friend is someone who you can trust and never let go. Having a best friend can be a beautiful and rewarding relationship, especially when it's real and dedication is on both ends. But what happens when the friendship begins to fade? What if your best friend becomes your worst enemy? How do you know when it's time to let go? For best friends Corlasia Mukes and Tynae Couts, their friendship took an unexpected and tragic turn in the early morning hours of October 11th, 2021. According to reports, law enforcement responded to a call of a stabbing around 6 a.m. near the 200 block of National Avenue in Jeffersonville, Indiana, just 3 miles north of Louisville, Kentucky, which is not too far from Interstate 65. When officers arrived at the Northtown Terrace Apartments, they entered the home of 21-year-old Tynae Couts. She was reportedly seen rendering CPR to another woman who was inside the kitchen. According to officers, the unidentified woman was unconscious and unresponsive. It was later revealed she had a single deep cut wound to the chest. The woman was taken to Clark Memorial Hospital to be treated for her injuries. Sadly, she was later pronounced deceased. The slain woman was later identified as 21-year-old Corlasia Mukes, Tynae's best friend and roommate. Tynae was quickly named a suspect. She was arrested and charged that day for Corlasia's slaying and also resisting arrest. Respectfully, Corlasia left behind her 4 children, all under the age of 5, her parents, siblings, and a loving, tight-knit family. The father of Corlasia's children stood by Corlasia's parents' side during the difficult time, also grieving. The children, being so young, would have had a hard time understanding why both of their parents were no longer around at the same time. The tragedy seemed too much to bear. According to reports, Corlasia's family confirmed her identity to news outlets and also confirmed that Tynae was supposed to be her best friend. According to what Corlasia's mother told reporters, Corlasia and Tynae grew up together and were very close. They lived with each other and did everything together, she said. Tynae has a son, and reportedly he often spent time with Corlasia's children and family as well. Some would say they were like sisters. So how did these best friends get to such a dreadful outcome? According to reports, it all started with an altercation at Tynae's apartment. Corlasia's mother told reporters from her understanding the 2 friends had come back from the gambling boat that fateful night, and for some reason things escalated into an argument, then it escalated into a fight, then escalated to her daughter being fatally injured. The reason behind the altercation remained a mystery, and Corlasia's family hoped they would find out why. According to investigators, Tynae initially told police that Corlasia had wounded herself. But that story did not make sense to investigators. Upon searching the apartment, detectives found blood near the back door of the kitchen and a puncture mark in the door itself, which according to them was consistent with the knife found at the crime scene. According to reports, while talking with police, court records show Tynae eventually told officers she had accidentally wounded her best friend near the stove in the kitchen following an altercation that took place outside. However, police say evidence pointed to the fatal incident taking place in another part of the kitchen. According to court documents, police said when Tynae learned that Corlasia passed away while she was being questioned, she tried to harm herself and had to be restrained. She was held without bond at Clark County Jail. The judge entered a guilty plea on her behalf. Reports say a pretrial conference was set for December 9th, 2021. A jury trial was scheduled for February of 2022. However, before that jury trial could happen, Tanae Couts, originally charged with murder, instead pled guilty to a lesser charge of reckless homicide in December 2021. At a December 17th court date, Tanae agreed to the open plea and the judge accepted it. In the state of Indiana, reckless homicide is a level 5 felony, punishable by 1 to 6 years in prison and a maximum $10,000 fine. Tanae Couts was scheduled to be sentenced in January 2022. According to reports, during the sentencing hearing on January 25th, Tanae's family pleaded to the court for her freedom. While Corlasia's mother, father, sister, and grandmother testified in support of Tanae getting the maximum sentence of 6 years on the charge of reckless homicide. It was later revealed that Corlasia's sister was there at the time of the horrific incident and traumatically saw her sister lose her life right before her eyes. That day in court was especially hard for Corlasia's family. In the end, Tanae Couts was sentenced to 5 years in prison. According to reports, Corlasia's mother said she found out the so-called reason behind her daughter's slaying. She told reporters she learned that her daughter and Tanae's friendship took a wrong turn and things ended with Corlasia's unfortunate passing. Corlasia Music's family said their focus now is making sure Corlasia's 4 children feel loved and supported by the family members they do have left. My deepest and most heartfelt condolences to Corlasia's family. Not only was Corlasia beautiful on the outside, but she was also reportedly just as beautiful on the inside. She was said to be a devoted mother, loving, caring, and supportive. Corlasia was just beginning to live her life before it was cut short at the hands of the person she considered her closest and most cherished friend. I'm not sure what caused the friendship to take a wrong turn and Tanae to snap, but I doubt the issue warranted Corlasia losing her life in such a brutal way. Rest in peace to Corlasia Mukes. Again, my condolences to her family. My prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible tragedy. Fam, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. It's just a heartbreaking story all around the board. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm out.
What's going on, YouTube fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and to get all the details in the case. If you're new to the fam, be sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future uploads. Let's get right into the story. Relationships can be a great thing. Having someone to share life with, pay bills with, turn up with. Oftentimes, it leads to a man and woman involved being best friends. But with all the good times, also comes tough times in a relationship as well. Some couples can stay strong and work through their problems, and some couples choose to just let it go and move on. But it gets complicated, especially when kids are involved, and one of the parties are still in love, but the other chooses to start a new situation with someone else, which can start a jealous, rageful, and dangerous situation. Rest in peace to Atlanta rapper Trouble. We all see how being in an entanglement with someone with a jealous ex can play out. Just going to a female's house to have a fun night can end in tragedy. When a jealous ex decides in their mind, if I can't have the person, no one will. The thing is, that's really counterproductive, because once you go to prison for declaring your so-called love and taking someone's life, that person will still be free and moving on to the next. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we will discuss a story that's almost identical to Trouble's situation and take it to St. Louis, Missouri to discuss a case of a young man throwing it all away. According to sources, when at the time 25-year-old Damian Thomas decided to pop up on his child's mother on the early Tuesday morning in 2020, once Damian arrived, somehow, even though everyone in the home was asleep, he found a way to get in. After creeping through the house, he made it to the bedroom to find his baby mother asleep. But to Damian's surprise, another man in the bed asleep as well. The man later identified as 27-year-old Tyree Matthews. Damian was furious because his child was in the home and started screaming and cussing, waking the two up. After having a few words with his baby mother, allegedly Damian pulled out a gun and turned his attention to Tyree, in which he let off one shot, hitting the man. Tyree, according to sources, pleaded with Damian, saying, "Bro, I didn't know she was involved. Just let me leave." But Damian, so furious, let off another shot before fleeing the scene. But he returned a short time later with a homeboy to try to clean the scene up, in which Tyree wasn't in the home at all. As neighbors were awakened by the shots, local police were called. Upon arriving on the scene, they located Tyree just 1 block away on Jacoby Avenue, where the man was unfortunately already gone from his injuries. Authorities determined Tyree tried to run for help after being shot, or someone dropped him off there trying to cover it up. As an investigation started, police spoke to neighbors and was able to determine a connection between Tyree and the young lady in the community, in which they discovered she let Damian in her home after he popped up on her that late night, not knowing he had a gun on him or would be that mad, since they wasn't together. But Damian was still on the run. It was determined the young lady was his ex, and the two shared an infant son together. 2 days after the murder charges were brought up on Damian, also a warrant put out for his arrest, he was eventually taken into custody and told police he did have a gun on him, but he didn't plan on using it. He came over just to check on his son. Damian alleged he must have startled Tyree, and the man pulled out a gun of his own. That's when Damian said he upped his blick and shot first and took Tyree's gun and gave it away. But forensics and gunshot patterns at the scene gave a different story of Tyree laying down and Damian standing over him. Damian's homeboy was charged with tampering with evidence after his fingerprints was found on a bottle of cleaning solution. Damian was charged with first-degree murder and held on a no bail. As the case made it to trial, Damian stuck to his story, but prosecutors alleged he flew into a fit of rage and executed Tyree after seeing him in the bed with his child's mother. The first degree was dropped to second degree, and Damian was eventually sentenced to 30 years in prison. Rest in peace, Tyree. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. More of this story, some people get in relationships and feel like they own that person for life. But when it's over, it's supposed to be over. You can't get mad at the next person for sliding in and being a companion. Tyree wasn't doing nothing wrong. The messed up thing is, the same situation keeps repeating itself over and over because some people just can't let go. Now Damian took a life, left his son and baby mother out here alone. And the cold thing is, she's still doing her because hey, life don't stop. So remember, we gotta succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Man, rest in peace, Tyree. Now, like y'all all know, like I said earlier, This situation happens over and over. Rest in peace to Trouble. This situation is so much similar, it's kind of eerie because the same situation happened in a whole nother state years before. A jealous ex get mad, they pull up, or they slide in the house, or they got a key to the house still because the breakup's still fresh, and they come in there, you feel me? They got a pipe on them, got a blick on them, they whip out the gun, and they start shooting. They just can't handle the thought of their significant other moving on with somebody else. But the thing about that, man, you gonna risk your freedom or go to prison, possibly for life, and she's still gonna be out here doing the same thing with the next person. So you take somebody's life because the heat of the moment, or I guess you could call it a crime of passion, but at the end of the day, you're not solving the problem. I feel like, man, there's a lot of people out here, you know, females, males. If you in a relationship and you show nothing in love, but they say they don't want to be with you no more, trust me, you can find somebody else. And if you can't find nobody in your state, it's other states, you got overseas, you can go somewhere and find you somebody. But throwing your life away for that kind of thing, it ain't worth it. You know, you took this man's life. You know, rest in peace, Tyree, for a simple situation. Like he said, he didn't even know she was involved. And sometimes I got a question for y'all. Do y'all feel like somebody should let you know they past and like, hey, I got a crazy ex and all that? I feel like they should, and give you the choice to decide whether you want to be in that situation and put up with that or not. But let me know what y'all think, man. Leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. It's your boy Tony 2 Times. I'm out.